Good morning. This is Christina Corcoran from the Energy Stakeholders of the Future webinar series, and I am with the New Jersey Utility Commissioner Upendra Chivukula. So Upendra, thank you for being here today. Introduce yourself, and we appreciate you being on the webinar last week.
Yeah, thank you, Christina. Thank you for this opportunity. This is Upendra Chivukula. I'm a commissioner on the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities. The way I'm going to be answering the question, these are all going to be my opinions only. I'm not speaking for the board because we have 5 commissioners on the board, and we have not everything we say as a board has to be agreed by other commissioners. So these are going to be my comments only, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Thank you, I appreciate that disclaimer. Let's get right into it.
Thank you, Christina.
If you missed it, Upendra was on our webinar last week for the Retail Energy Voice. Had brought up a lot of really good points, so we wanted to bring him back and to expand on some of those points that you had. So, Upendra, so in the webinar, you spoke about the changes New Jersey Governor Murphy's going to be making to transform the electricity market with more of a focus on electrification. Can you tell us a little bit more about what he's doing specifically and what's his plan for New Jersey?
Yeah, the Governor's Energy Master Plan calls for 100% clean energy, and that means you are going to have less of fossil fuel for not only for generation, for also for heating buildings. So one way of heating the buildings, according to the plan, is to have to electrify the building. So you have electric heat pumps, and so that way, when you have electric heat pumps, naturally the consumption of the electricity also goes up. So I think, how do you go about doing that? Right now, 70% of New Jersey is heated with natural gas and 10% with oil heating. And so you have 80% of the infrastructure currently is fossil based. And transitioning it to 100%, close to 100%, because you have the Global Warming Response Act calls for 80% reduction in greenhouse gases by 2050, and so you need to make sure that somehow they all come together.
Okay, that's a very aggressive plan to be 100%. So, but this will bring up a lot of opportunities for the different stakeholders. So, what do what's the basis for the forecast, and what kind of opportunities do you see that coming from it?
Yeah, when you look at the Energy Master Plan, and there is a modeling behind it, and if we had Rocky Mountain Institute doing the analysis, the modeling, mathematical modeling. And similarly, there are other environmental organizations have done mathematical modeling. And when you look at, as I said, if 80% of your infrastructure is fossil based, and you are shifting that to as close to possible to electric, naturally, it makes sense that the numbers are going to go up in terms of electricity demand. The other area where it's going to increase the demand for electricity is the electric vehicle and charging. When you have electric vehicles, and one of the key component of the Energy Master Plan is to electrify the transportation sector. So not only light duty vehicles, medium, heavy duty vehicles, all forecasted to be electrified. So when you have electrified vehicles, then you need to charge them, and the charging is going to increase the demand for electricity.
Now, do you think, with all that demand for the electricity, do you think our grid's going to be able to handle all that that extra, distributed generation?
Right. I think that's where the planning comes into picture. It's not happening tomorrow. It is 30 years from now. And so, we have intermediate goal of 50% by 2030, so which is 10 years away. And it'll tell us how I think we can get to 50%. Once you get to 50% in 2030, then you have another 20 years to get to 100%. So there is a process you have to go through. And also, I believe that 20 years is a long time. 10 years, of course, is a long time too, in terms of technological breakthroughs, right? The other day, we watched the Dragon going to the space station.
Right.
And it's a partnership, private-public partnership with SpaceX, between SpaceX and NASA. And anytime you have space programs are active, that has given us a tremendous advantage in terms of technological boost.
So that brings up a question, because NASA was always a public entity, and now they're allowing private sector company to come in and work with them. Do you think the utilities will take that lead and allow some of the public to come in and help with innovation for the greater good?
I think they may not be doing willingly. We may have to, through regulation, I think we need to, it's a behavior modification. So we need to, when we did the IDECA in 1999, which is the deregulation law, that we wanted to have the competition in the utility market space. And it's working, seems to be working fine in the natural gas market. I think we need to bring about similar thing. What has Pennsylvania has done, we need to bring that to New Jersey also in the electricity market.
Okay. So one thing when in the webinar, when we're talking about what you'd like to see for the future, what you know is going to happen for the future, you mentioned the carbon tax bill and how that's going to have a change on the energy stakeholders. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I think carbon tax is something that's been tossed around, and there are a lot of people, young people from Princeton University, and you have FERC is holding some hearings on carbon tax. PJM has initiated, which is our independent system operator, they have initiated some programs. And I think currently the way it is that we have New Jersey's renewable portfolio standard has solar, it's got offshore wind, you have battery storage, EV charging, all different things are there. And of course, energy efficiency is the top of the list and it's important. And when you have the RECs, the renewable energy certificates, the reward for getting into those renewable energy prospects, or they're not even based, they're not even. And so you need to bring about, common platform. I think the common platform could be carbon tax, because carbon tax, you don't have to worry about incentivizing nuclear at one rate and offshore wind at another rate and solar at one other rate, and depending on what the industry's feedback that is coming in. But I think once you have a carbon tax, we do have what's known as a RGGI, which is a Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, where New Jersey is part of the Northeast 10 states plus DC sort of agreement. It's not a compact, but it's an agreement that to reduce the greenhouse gases by a certain percentage. And so I think, and also all the carbon that is going to be traded. And recently in New Jersey, the auctions brought in about $20 million. And so I think carbon is a key component of any future thing that we are going to be doing. And so carbon tax is rather, even though it's difficult, I mean, it not only puts the onus on utilities, generators, even individuals, transportation sector, everybody has to pay the carbon tax. I think it is going to be challenging, but I think that's the greatest equalizer.
Okay, so kind of it'll be like a level playing field where everybody has to be involved with that.
Right, you produce 1 metric ton of carbon, you pay this much money. So that's what it is, and we all produce carbon. Right.
So here's another kind of question. Everybody's throwing around the word prosumer. But how do the low and moderate income families, how can we support them to become prosumers as well?
Well, I think, the prosumers, for is basically the consumers also producing electricity by having solar panels and or having some kind of a storage and a combination of that. So you are able to not only consume electricity, but you are also producing electricity. Right now, to encourage more low income and moderate income consumers to become prosumers, we have started what is known as community solar, and which will give them an opportunity to participate and become a prosumer. May not be directly, but indirectly they become prosumers.
Okay, well, thank you. So that kind of leads me into my next comment, which is to let everybody know that you will also be on our consumer advocate panel on our webinar June 25th. So we'll be able to hear more about what New Jersey has to say for the the consumers, and how you're working out with that. So Upendra, thank you. Is there anything else any more hot topics that you want our audience to hear about?
The way I would like to say that is that the retail energy marketplace have great opportunities with this energy master plan. You just have to figure out how and where you fit in, and whether it is with respect to the consumer issue or electric vehicle charging issue. There are a lot of opportunities that you need to explore for yourself and get a piece of the action.
Well, that's a great way to leave it. So thank you very much, Upendra, and we look forward to seeing you on the 25th.
Okay, Christina, thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.